Oh, guys, we're looking into the future. 3 minutes into the future. Hey guys, it's me, Retriku, and I thought I'd make a video talking about this neat little device. It's definitely one of the coolest little things I've ever seen. It's definitely one of the most essential things when it comes to buying a ZX Spectrum. And I want to talk about this because I think there are some things that should be mentioned about when it comes to buying this. Now, I wanted to buy this ever since I got my Spectrum Plus 2, but I kind of neglected to do that because I just wanted to, at the very least, get one when I racked up the dough, you know, just simply get enough money to actually buy it, because it is very pricey. But, of course, I want to make sure that, you know, as long as I got the money, I'll be able to pay for it. But here I am, I finally got it, and yeah, I want to talk about the issue that I had with getting it to run properly and whatnot. But before I do that, of course, I want to give a little backstory as to how I managed to get this. So, just a few weeks ago, Rod Hole from The Future Was 8-Bit actually made a post on X saying that, hey, well, you can, would you like to get £5 off of any item from our store? And then literally the coupon code is A:, yeah. So yeah, I ended up getting it. I got like $5 off from that. And yeah, I wanted to get this because I, again, neglected to get this when I got my Spectrum, and I really needed one because I've been trying to load some games through the phone, and it really took a lot of time to actually get through. It was a really fun to actually get it to run on my Spectrum on the 48K, but of course I needed to get a 128K, the Plus 2. Of course, people have mentioned that, hey, well, if you want to get games to run with the AY chip and 128K, you have to get the Plus 2 Gray. And of course, there are the other models as well, but I think the compatibility issues have already been fixed, so it was better for me to get the Plus 2 Gray, mostly because of the 9-volt power supply that I got from The Future Was 8-Bit. And because the plug is universal itself, I could easily just plug it in there, right there. Maybe if I can actually get it. There you go. And there you go. Just plug it in, and that's it. No problems at all. And yeah, it's a very high quality plug. Definitely got this before it ended up being sold out or no longer in stock. So yeah, I still wonder why you know, Rod no longer sells these, because obviously when you mentioned that, hey, well, it's better that you get a better power supply instead of like the Sinclair Spectrum ones, why not have it in the listing? So yeah, the other plugs and the other models I couldn't get since I don't have the a step-up converter. And well, I would want to do so if I guess if I'm supposed to get like the correct speed in order to get that to work, then yeah, I think it would have been more ideal. But because I didn't have, well, obviously I don't have a plug like this, it would have been better that I just simply, you know, play the Spectrum with the 120 volts, but with this plug in here. It doesn't matter exactly. It's not going to affect the playback of the cassette tapes. I did try it out with the Plus 2, and the playback still sounds fine. Now, of course, the one thing that I ended up doing was to order this device, but things got worse. Now, the situation wasn't related to the device, but just the fact that I ended up having to deal with a Category 1 hurricane and, what did they say? Power outages! So yeah, I ended up ordering this before we ended up having Hurricane Beryl strike us in Texas. And it's only in certain areas of Texas, and we were in the area that Hurricane Beryl passed through. They say that Centerpoint has brought back the power around this area of the neighborhood. Well, did they? In the middle of the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl, I ended up buying the Spectrum Plus 2 on eBay. I think somewhere around Thursday or Wednesday, I ended up getting this, and despite there were some delays with the DivMMC and the Spectrum Plus 2, and the fact that it was delivered just one day later, I ended up getting this. I was looking forward to it, and while we had power from the generator itself, I decided to test this out because, well, obviously since the contents of it here, I have some Spectrum games. I thought, hey, well, maybe I'll be able to get to play this on my Spectrum 48K, right? Well, you would be wrong. The Z80 chip did not have a certain signal that would allow this device to run it. And that's one thing I want to mention, and I don't think any other videos, as far as I could tell, have not mentioned this issue. At first, when I plugged this in, you know, just get it all in there, you know, plug it in. I thought that would be easier said than done. Then problems arose. I made a backup copy of the files and actually try to make sure, hey, well, maybe it's probably just the ESX DOS, and I'll go ahead and update it. Well, turns out that wasn't the issue. And I tried to plug it in multiple times and probably thought, oh yeah, well, maybe I'll go ahead and clean the pins, or not the pins, but just the little connectors, and see if that was the issue, right? Well, no. But then I saw in the a few videos that mentioned this. I thought, oh, well, maybe I can just open this, pry it open, and just go ahead and try to resolder the pins that keep the, you know, the little connectors, and see if that would be the issue. Well, initially I was going to do that. You can kind of see a little bit of the marking right here where I was going to deal with that, but no. And I didn't want to open it because I was afraid I would damage the molding, because it's a really nice little molding. The texture is really nice. And yeah, and then of course the little sticker, which I thought it was actually like painted in there, but no, I'm not gonna complain much about it, so I think it looks pretty neat. But yeah, no, it wasn't an issue with any of them. I ended up looking at some of the videos, and it turned out it was missing that M1 signal that one of the pins on the Z80 chip required it to run. But the Future Was 8-Bit never mentions it on the website. Now, I don't mean to disrespect Rod or you know, any of the people who made this, because again, this is a pretty damn good little device, but just the fact that it requires a signal from the chip, that's concerning. Now, in order to understand exactly how this issue needs to be fixed, is when you get the device. Now, if you plug it into your Spectrum 48K or whatever Spectrum device is, you have to wait for this little screen that shows, like, oh, it's loading the ESX DOS. Now, that's the thing that you can tell it's actually working. But mine didn't do it, and it only showed the Spectrum, you know, the basic screen, the terminal screen, and that was it. Nothing else. It didn't show the ESX DOS screen before showing the basic terminal. Nothing. And yeah, I was looking through the manual, and none of the issues mentioned that. And yeah, I was really like devastated. I was waiting to actually get a chance to play some Spectrum games, you know, Spectrum 48K games, but yeah, I almost considered actually taking the Z80 chip from my Sega Genesis. I have two models, but one was the first model was soldered in. The second one was a different variant, not like the 40-pin chip, but more like the one that's a very square one. So yeah, I was not happy. I was kind of like just feeling a little gloom after all that. So while I may not have had the chance to play on my 48K, which I definitely want to do, I'm actually considering on at least waiting until like my next paycheck to actually get the Z80 chip and a 40-pin socket so I can actually get that thing to work. I won't throw the Z80 chip away. Just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and hope for the best. Here goes nothing. There we go. It is working. Hell to the yes. We are finally in business. But, of course, I think it's better to really talk about this little device. It's a very damn good thing. It only runs Kempston joysticks, and yeah, the overall feel of this little texture, I love it. It's kind of like a mini Sinclair Spectrum, but obviously since it's a little more wider, it wouldn't look exactly the same. It's not like I can just do this and then boom. Just do that, see? Whatever, but you get the idea. I mean, this little thing right here. That's where you have to start loading the ESX DOS menu, and then of course this resets the system itself, which is a very convenient thing instead of just simply like plugging it or unplugging it. But since I do have this little switch I can actually use, you know, just turn it on or off. That would be more convenient. I definitely love this thing. It's a very essential thing to get for the Spectrum. I was able to test out some games for 2 hours. I actually managed to play some of them, while the others I've downloaded from zxarts.ee. Unfortunately, the issue of trying to get them to actually run, it has to run like a specific file format to actually get it to work. I've tried some of them, but yeah. And then, of course, some games that did require the enhancements from the Pentagon or the Scorpion 256. are not there. You can't run them on a 128K and expect that to work. I've tried that, and it doesn't do exactly the job. But yeah, I've tried the TAP files, I've tried the SNA files, I've tried the SCR files, I've also tried the PT3 files, which it actually runs Vortex Tracker music files. So if you've composed a song specifically for the AY chip, you'll be able to listen to the music and you get this thing to run, and it's actually pretty cool to see. But one of the weirdest things I want to mention is this little stinky device. Little joystick right here. If you try to plug it into the DivMMC interface, and if you try to move it, the thing resets. It's a very weird thing, but I get it. It's a Kempston joystick compatible thing, not a Sinclair one, and especially with this little thing, it's a very, I tried it, and I don't like it. But you get the idea. You can actually, it's up to you if you really want to buy with the SD card. It's up to you. If you don't want it and you would want to get the files that gets this thing to run, that's up to you. Again. But yeah, trying it all, it was really cool to see this thing in action, and the fact that I was able to get it to run on my Spectrum Plus 2 Gray. I actually had a lot of fun trying to, load games off of it, and yeah, it was great to see this in action. Just the fact that it would actually run the games that I remember playing, even some of the demos from the ZX Spectrum. From the Russian ZX Spectrum demo scene, I was actually able to run it on the Plus 2, and the first one that I actually got a chance to play to run was the Technogen by Brainwave. That was the very first ZX Spectrum demo that got me into the Spectrum scene even further, cemented my love for the ZX Spectrum. But yeah, again, this device it's really neat. But one thing that isn't great, of course, is the fact that it doesn't show any warning that you need to plug it in and see if your ZX Spectrum does not load the system, if it has to be with the Z80 issue. Just the fact that I have to buy a Z80 chip, and the feature was 8-bit actually includes a listing for Z80 chips, and it's like 10 megahertz for that one, but I've been looking through eBay and actually found the exact same model number from this Spectrum, and I'm looking forward to buying it later on at some point. That way I can solder it in, and I'll be able to, at the very least, get that thing working onto my Spectrum 48K so I can actually load games in here too. That, and I also want to fix some things with the Spectrum in here, so that way I can actually get the ultimate Spectrum experience with this one here. Because despite the fact that I've modified, did a little composite mod, I want to redo the composite mod. And I also, of course, gave it a big makeover. I decided to actually use the red keyboard mat. It's already grown in on me, and I'm actually forever grateful to have these devices. God bless the Spectrum community. I'm forever grateful to actually be part of the community itself. Definitely get yourself a DivMMC interface, because if you don't, the Sinclair joystick will like to have a word with you. That's not what I meant!